Now we're going to learn some rhythm exercises with bar chords, which I consider absolutely essential to know how to do. To begin with, we need to set up an A major bar chord. That's at the 5th fret all the way across, and we use our familiar E major shape just there. Now, to begin with, we want to have our chord in position but release the pressure on the strings, so when we strike the strings with the right hand, we get a muted sound like this. Now, when playing rhythms with the right hand, you have to bear in mind that the right hand is keeping timing. So I'm going to show you with muted strings a typical 1 bar of right hand 8th notes. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're ready to come down on the 1 again. Once again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Without the mutes, that is missing the strings, my timing would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now you'll probably notice that my beats, which are 1, 2, 3 and 4, all occur with a downstroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. While my upstrokes are in between the beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, obviously that's a very simple concept to grasp, but it is very important to know that your downstrokes will be on the beat and your upstrokes are off the beat. Now, here's an exercise you can try and do. Start off with just simple muting down and up strokes for several bars at a moderate tempo, but make sure that your hand is evenly going down and up. We don't want a sort of lopsided rhythm like, which, believe it or not, is actually quite easy to do if you're not used to doing rhythms. So once again, set up a couple of bars of muted rhythms by not pressing this chord down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And if you have that nice and even and you've got a sense of the timing happening, then we can go on to the next stage, which is this. What we're going to do is create a rhythm with the left hand by simply pressing in the appropriate area of the beat. Now, to simplify what I've just said, all I want you to do is press down on the 1, so we get 1, and on the and after 1, we lift off, so we get a muted upstroke, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can try that at varying speeds, from slow to a much quicker tempo. Now, from there, we can try adding in an upstroke on one of our ands, and we'll select the and after 2. So we'll press on the 1, and the and after 2 will press again. So we'll have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That'll give you a slight offbeat feel when you press on the and after 2. Once again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A little bit quicker. Now, if you try that, once again I recommend you try it slowly and then gradually increase the tempo. Now, to complete this exercise, we're going to press on the 1, the and after 2, and on beat number 4, which will be a downstroke. Slow down, it'll be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Sped up a bit, it'll be So you can hear how the left hand is actually making the sound of the rhythm, while the right hand is just simply going down and up and is the engine which is propelling the rhythm along with our down and up strokes. Now, if you're okay so far with this and you're not finding it too difficult, we'll go on and add a change of chord. So we'll flatten out at the end of the bar and form a D major chord like this. So we'll start with A major, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Play it again. Make sure that you can flatten out okay at the appropriate time at the end of the bar to form the D chord. And if you want to be really adventurous, we can move down to an E shape at some point. We'll start with A, we'll go to D, then we'll go to E, back to D, and back to A. A little bit hard to do when you're trying to concentrate on the rhythm, but this is what rhythm's all about. It's not just doing the rhythm itself, but actually changing chords as you go. Now, in keeping with this idea, I would have to say probably one of the hardest things I'd like you to try and do is to play the rhythm but without the muting sounds of the chord in between. In other words, you're going to be playing the rhythm by pressing down with the left hand, but trying to avoid getting that clicky sound on the muted strings. Sometimes you want that clicky sound, other times you want to be able to keep the rhythm going without that sound involved. So really, what I'd like you to try and do, one more time, here's the rhythm. But try it without making the clicking sound, but you still have to make your right hand go down and up. Let's take a look now. If you can do that, I think you'll be well prepared to do some of the more difficult rhythms that are contained in these lessons. Just in closing, I'd like to say if you're having difficulty changing the chords and maintaining the rhythm, just stick with one chord until you can do the last thing I just showed you, which was playing the rhythm without the clicky sounds. Then when you're confident that you can do it with one chord, try switching the chords until you have the feel rolling along nicely.